Okay, we are live. And this time I got the camera already set up in the right angle. We're ready to go. I'm going to wait just a couple of minutes for people to arrive, but this class, different than others, is going to be very focused on a complete technical, well, not a complete technical workout, I shouldn't say that, but it's going to be less talking and more playing. So I'll explain the exercises, but we're going to go through them together, and doing it on YouTube like this will be better than how I do it on Instagram. Because on Instagram, people are popping in and out all the time and asking questions, whereas the ones that are showing up right now, hello, those of you joining, I see. Those of you joining right now understand what you're getting into, right? It's like this is going to be like a technical workout. We are. I'm going to start with some right hand stuff that I talked about in my Instagram story about right hand reflexivity, and then we're going to move into some other things like slur exercises and coordination and stretching. So those are some of the things we're going to talk about. I'm just filling in a little bit of time here, allow just a couple of minutes for people to join. I see 4 of you are here now. Hey, what's up? Gazelle, how are you? So we're going to start out with some really basic things in the right hand and talk about the overall concept of reflexive playing. What's up, Carol? Just letting a few more people join in here before I start, but yeah, this is going to be something more playing than talking. We're not going to be like entertaining as many requests, but if you have a question about what, like how to do the exercise or things concerning that, then of course. Just in the interest of making this a class where people can come and watch and play along and feel like you got a technical workout out of it and not too much repeating and what am I trying to express? Like not so much of like, random questions and answer type of things, but more of like a guided workout for your left and right hand. Okay, we're going to go ahead and start. There's 4 of you here. I expect more to join, but since this is my first time not streaming it on Instagram as well, I expect there to be less people because not so many people take the time to go subscribe on YouTube and figure all of that noise out. Oh, 1 second actually. Give me a couple more minutes. I told people I'd remind them that sent me a message on Instagram about when I was starting. So let me just send a message to these people. A few more minutes. Sorry to make you wait here. We're going to start with right hand stuff. And by the way, if you're joined, let me know. I wish I could pin messages here on YouTube, but I don't think I can. At least not from the mobile app. Okay. I sent some messages here. Okay. All right, so let's start with some right hand stuff. What we're going to start with is an exercise that if you've been watching my technique classes for a while, you've seen this exercise before, but I'm going to talk about like the very beginning basic concept of reflexivity and how to think about it without thinking of like an entire fast scale, but just a single note in the right hand. And then we're going to add on more and more to this. So hopefully you're ready to go and starting now. Okay, we're going to start by plucking with our thumb and immediately setting it back down on the string as fast as possible. Now, if this is new for you, you might be this fast, but try to make it plant right back onto the string. And try to make that feel like one action. Dump, it's like one action. Okay? And now the key thing here to do is not play like this and start going fast, but to give yourself a second to relax after each time. So even if it's this infrequent. Just give yourself a second to recoup and relax so your hand isn't getting tense trying to do it a million times. Hey, what's up, Liam? Glad you're joining. We're talking about reflexiveness in the right hand, and yeah, let me know when you're here. Anyone, I normally put it as a pin message on YouTube. Yeah, it looks like it won't allow me to type on this mobile app. I'll have to do this differently, maybe from a laptop next time. But okay, next we're going to do this with the I finger on the G string, and we're going to just pluck and set our finger back down as soon as possible. Make a loud sound, a loud good sound, and then set your finger right back down on the string. Give yourself enough time between each of the notes that you play to relax your hand and just think about what the action is you're supposed to be doing. This is important. Now with your M finger on the D string, so your middle finger, ready, and. So see, I'm noticeably slowing down here so that I can feel a state of relaxation before actually plucking the next note again. So this is like what about reflexivity is about, right? Now with our A finger. Not the best sound because these are really old strings and scratched up, but now maybe for you it's sounding like this, and that's the fastest you can set your finger down. That's okay, as long as you're trying to feel, as long as you're trying to plant your finger as fast as possible here, back onto the string. Now, hopefully you're following along here. What you should try doing next is going thumb, I, M, A, M, I, thumb. And each time try to reset your arm, even if it goes like this, like not arm, but your entire hand. Even if you're going this speed. It's a way to stay relaxed and make sure you're not getting too tense. What's important is that you're feeling this feeling of immediate movement done as like an automatic motion, not like pluck, set finger down, right? But it's just a motion with whatever finger. Ah. Good question, Andrew. As when doing this exercise with your M finger, are all of... Sorry, I'm laughing because this chat starts disappearing. I see it now, though. When doing this exercise with your M finger, are all your other fingers planted on the string or slightly above it? Good question. I'm doing this with my finger all my other fingers planted on the strings. You can have them hovering as well, but the problem with doing that is you need... A lot of times in music, you're like using your other fingers... You're using your other fingers in such a way that like you need to have access to this M finger while all of these are planted. So maybe you're playing a piece like this, right? The thing is, to be able to play that well, you need to be able to have your M finger be able to play while the other fingers are planted. Anyways, that's just what I suggest here. And we're getting to why that is as well. We're getting to the next step. So in the interest of time, let's move on. What we're going to do next is just pair two notes together. So we're going to go thumb I, right? So this. Now try to mimic that speed and tempo that I'm playing this at. Now how long you take before you play the next little group of notes doesn't matter, as long as you're relaxed and it's identical every time. So this spacing, da-da, da-da. Or let's say you can't do that and that's a little too difficult. Maybe da-da, da-da, right? Whatever spacing is you're able to play consistently, do that. So for me, I'm picking this, da-da, da-da, right? Now, each time, like I said, you don't want to do this. Because what's going to happen there is you get two tenths between each and you're not taking time to relax and feel the reflexiveness of that motion. Now, I can do this and feel relaxed between each one, but that takes some practice. I'm sure some of you that are watching this can do that as well. But the thing is, it takes a certain amount of concentration to make sure that you're actually being relaxed between each of those groupings. So let's keep it slow. Relax. Even if you have to say it out loud, the word, you know. It's a key component in playing fast. Okay, next we're going to do this with our I and M finger, but we're going to keep it whatever that same grouping speed was with P and I, our thumb and our pointer finger. We're going to do that with our I and M, so our pointer and our middle. So like this. playing along with me here, but whatever speed works for you. What's up? Hey, if you're just joining, let me know that you're here. I'd love to hear that you're watching. It doesn't pop up anything like it does on Instagram, so I'm really just guessing who all's here. But yeah, we're feeling this reflexive speed with our I to M finger. Just try to be very consistent in the spacing of the notes. Da-da, da-da, da-da. Relax, relax, relax. Okay, now let's do this with our M to our A finger. Right, these two. So this is going to be a problem area. Most of the time we're going to want to go. But just try to get this. Hey, Mayan. Yeah, no problem. I hope you're enjoying. Okay, so see, I'm matching the same speed that we started with, thumb I, right? M-A, M-A. Between each one, completely relax your hand, even if it means shaking it out a second. And try it at different volumes too. It's pretty tricky. The M-A is going to be the hardest one to control. Good question, Liam. So someone else just asked that as well. So I don't know if, maybe you guys can't see either. I'm gonna try to move this back a little bit. All right, am I keeping my P? Liam just asked, am I keeping the PI on the D and G strings? What in this one? I was lifting it actually, but let me see. I think it's a good exercise to leave them planted. Let's see. Yeah, I think it's good to keep it planted. I think that's a good idea. Try it in both ways. Actually, this adds to the consistency factor. Try to do it without, and then set them down. And do it the same way, right? So this is planted. Man, my right hand is not really seen well. I'm gonna add in another thing to bump this a little lower. Let's see if this works. Okay. Yeah, I'll just back up a little bit more. How's that? Sorry, I got my skateboard here. All right. So, okay. So M-A, right? You can leave it ringing too. Okay. Now, in the effort of time, we're not going to do all of these, but we are, but we're going to do it really quickly. Now try doing AM, right? The same grouping. I'm doing what I said. I'm trying a couple, 2 in a row here without planting my M and I. And then another 2 with them planted. Trying to create the same distance. Yep, there we go. Now let's do MI. This is with my P and A planted. Now I'm doing unplanted. Planted again. Now I, P. Unplanted. And try to keep that spacing between the notes the same. Now, you probably find this pretty difficult when you're really focusing on it, because sometimes one will happen and the other will be. So this is something you want to correct, right? Get it all the same. It's just 2 notes, right? This is the building blocks. As soon as you start adding in 3 notes and you try to feel reflexive these, if you don't have the 2 notes thing figured out, it's going to be a mess. And it's going to be so hard to figure out what's wrong. You might just be thinking, oh, it might be because it's 3 notes. It's a lot. But no, the problem starts right from the beginning. And you can try moving those same patterns like AM, AM onto different strings, right? So the goal is practicing relaxing between each one of these so that you feel reflexive. Feels like it just feels like a simple one movement each time you do it. Instead of like this repetitive thing, right? Because when you do that, you get tense. Like if I were to do this at a speed that wasn't reflexive anymore, it'd be like this. And that's what you were ultimately training for, if you're playing a piece that has a lot of right hand complexity. But right now, we're just trying to feel this idea of reflexiveness. So I'm experimenting with all the other fingers right now. If you're feeling confident, you can do that and try it a little faster. Okay, now we're going to move to 3 notes per string, okay? So we're going to, not 3 notes per string, 3 notes per burst, little reflexive burst. So let's do G, B, E, right? Like this. Now, if you're not able to do that, maybe you can go, maybe that burst speed. But since it's a reflex thing, you should feel like you're able to roll like this fast, at least. Like I said, we're not going, we're just doing once. And relax. And try to get that consistent. I'm exaggerating here, I wouldn't actually do that each time, but I know it's hard to visually tell over video if I'm relaxing or not. Okay? Now, what we're going to do is add something onto this. This is where it's going to get a little bit harder, especially if you're a beginner player. This is going to get more difficult, but we're going to do this. So this is thumb, I, M, thumb, right? But it's a reflex. It's not going thumb, I, M, thumb, right? Ooh, that was a bad sound. My nail caught. You're just going to try to think, we're just adding one more to it, and da-da-da. It helps actually, I read this in an article by Stephen Aaron, he has this awesome classical guitar blog. He'll talk about practicing and performance routines. Anyways, he talks about singing the rhythm, da-da-da-da. Like whichever way you can make that noise fastest, if it's da-da-da-da or da-da-da, like if you're drumming on your hands. Hearing it before actually playing it is an interestingly important aspect. I think you'd be surprised. So this is the idea here. Now don't start doing what I was just doing there, which is playing it too many times in a row without relaxing. Try to make it consistent. So I'll let you do it a couple times without me talking or playing, and just really listen. Are you making it a complete burst? Dig-a-da-da. Dig-a-da-da. Try it. And let me know in the comments what you find. Is this helping? Are you able to do it at this speed? Why don't you try this? Next, we're going to do this with I, M, A. Okay? We're going to do this. Just a 3-note group. And then we're going to move back to expanding on that other one. Okay? So 3-note group here, I, M, A. Okay? I'm keeping my thumb planted here. And then I'll do it without thumb planted. Oops. See, this is where you really got to pay attention. More difficult. So I'm going to, until I get this motion down, I'm going to slow it down. I'm going to go dug it down, okay? Relaxing. When you're not getting it, it's funny, we have this counterproductive tendency, when you're not getting it, to go fast, like, to do them, like in a, what am I trying to say, with more frequency. And remember, that's opposite of what we're trying to do. We're trying to make it feel like a reflex and completely relaxed. Breathe. right, so it's starting to be a little bit more consistent. Okay, that's consistent now. Now let's try, okay, so I am a I. So, if you can only do it this speed, that's okay. As long as that feels like a reflex, not pluck, 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 pluck. It's just gotta be da-ga-da-da, 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 right? Like you're playing a piano. This would be very easy on the piano, so just make it that way for guitar. Try to wrap your head around it mentally about it being easy. You see how I'm not being rhythmically consistent on how often I'm doing this? I'm not going da-ga-da-da, 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 da-ga-da-da. No, I'm going da-ga-da-da, taking a break. Whenever I feel relaxed, go back. Ooh, that wasn't right. Feeling relaxed, I'm going to do it again. Ooh. Not focused now. So, anyways, needs work, but that's the idea here. I am a I. I am a I. Okay, now let's do this exercise that we're doing, P-I-M again on the top 3 strings, and do P-I-M-P, and then add in our I finger again. We were already doing this. Or were we doing on that string? Now I can't remember, but P-I-M-P-I. Right? So it's going to be Relax. It helps to visualize your fingers doing it before you actually play. Oh no. So whatever speed you're able to do this at, maybe it's try it at that speed if that's the case, right? So now let's try P-I-M-P-I-M, right? So 2 group. Digga-da-digga-da, digga-da-digga-da. Try saying that out loud. Or drum it. Digga-digga-da, 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 right? So that's what we're gonna try to feel in one motion. It's like going like this, right? You know how when you roll your fingers, it's kind of one motion? It's the same thing. And it's like you just have to wrap your mental idea around it. Even though it's not all in a line like this, it's still one continuous motion. Right? So this is the goal. Completely relax. Completely relax. And you see I'm doing a fair amount of movement here because what you don't want to do is to end up going like this. Raising your shoulders and just getting carried away. You want to just make movement and feel relaxed playing these faster groupings. How's this going for you guys? I haven't seen any comments in a little while here. Oh, I just read yours here, Liam. Sorry, what I meant is, are you keeping P, I, D, and G? Yeah. Hold on. Are you keeping your P and I on the 21st? Uh-oh. I have no idea what you're talking about. Sorry, what I mean is, are you keeping P, I, D, and G? I really don't understand, actually. The 21st really threw me off there. Sorry, what I mean is, are you keeping P, I, D, and G? Oh, I was correcting my previous statement. Okay. Are you keeping P and I? Okay, you mean am I keeping my P and I finger on the D and G strings? Yeah. For when we're doing this? Yeah, totally. Okay, so yeah. Okay, got it. Sorry about that. So yeah, we're going PIM, 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 right? And now I understand that may not be attainable right now, but that's kind of the idea. And once you can get two, now sometimes by the way, when I'm doing these reflexivity exercises, sometimes those getting the two groupings is so hard. It takes me so many times to get there. But that doesn't mean just drilling away at the practice and doing it, getting really tense. It means starting from the beginning again. Usually when you start from the very beginning, it gets pretty easy. It's at least better than when you first started that day. And then maybe all of a sudden one grouping is easier than it was before. And then adding in the next one, it's a little bit harder, but not as hard as the first time. Now I'm getting somewhere. This isn't the end of this exercise. I was just expressing, when you get two of these down, you're almost all the way there. Getting three is like on the path to just being able to do it repeatedly, right? And since you've been building this habit, playing these groupings completely relaxed in between, that will really help when you're actually playing it fast and continuously playing, because you're not going to be getting tense. You're just going to be feeling that one grouping as one movement. And then when you're doing this, it's ease. Every finger has relaxation between the groupings. Sorry, your fingers have relaxation between each time you do this, even on a small scale. Okay, next let's try to get there, what we were just doing with our I and M, right? So you can go ahead and try that. So I'll go I am A, sorry. And just get it consistent no matter the speed. I'll go a little bit slower, probably what you guys are able to go. Let's go I am A. Now a little faster like this. I am A, da-ga-da-da, da-ga-da-da. Right? Relax. Drop your shoulders, make sure they're not up like this, right? Relax them. Then go I am A, I am. Take some time in between. Okay. See? I started messing up while I was just repeating it over and over again without relaxing in between. It's hard to keep the focus, but it's important. Now let's go I am A. Okay, da-ga-da-da-ga-da. Da-ga-da-da-ga-da. It might sound stupid, people laugh at you, but da-ga-da-da-ga-da. Da-da-da-da-da-da. Whatever helps you. Whatever you can say fast enough. Even if it's like a phrase, I heard people say things like whatever. Hippopotamus. Hippopotamus. That's for 5. Anyways, like that. It's like creating a visual representation of what you're going to be doing. But this is like an audio representation, right? Starting to feel reflexive, starting to feel like da-ga-da-da-ga-da, da-ga-da-da-ga-da. This is one motion, right? So this is ultimately what you're trying to feel with this type of thing. We're going to go over one more, and we're about halfway through our class, so or more than halfway. We'll probably only do 45 minutes here, but let's add the final element to this exercise. Actually, this is from Ricardo Isnaiola's book. What we're going to do now is we're going to go P-I-M-I, okay? So instead of P-I-M-P, it's going to be P-I-M-I. So, whatever speed you can do it, try going P-I-M-I, P-I-M-I. So that's G-B-E, G-B-E-B, G-E, G-B-E-B, G-B-E-B. That's really hard to say, G-B-E-B. Okay, anyways. This is getting this I finger returning fast. Make sure to take enough time to relax between each set. Try different volumes. The last thing you want to do is be a player that can only play fast loud or only play fast quiet. And if you're not practicing that now, it's going to be hell later when you're actually applying this to a piece. You're only going to feel comfortable going. And then when it comes to doing this, you're going to do this, right? That's why we're practicing it. Okay, so if you have this down now, let's do P-I-M-I-P. P-I-M-I-P. Okay, digga-digga, digga-digga, digga-digga. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, right? That's way too hard to say fast. Anyways. Relax. 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 Okay? And then what you can do after this is add in one more. Like add an I after P-I-M-I-P-I. And try to hear that da 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 da, right? And just try to visualize that, like audiate it in your mind, this pattern of sounds, but fast. Okay? Let me know how that's going for you guys. Leave a comment. Okay. Now, of course, the goal of that is to be able to repeatedly do it, but this is all in the intro of trying to do things reflexively. There's other exercises here. Try moving it to different strings. P-I-M, A-M-I, A-M-I, A-M-I. Take time in between each. And over time of working on these reflexive things, you should get more and more, you should get quicker and quicker at resetting and staying relaxed through each burst. So maybe in the beginning it takes you a little while, like that amount of time in between each, but after a while, you can feel the relaxation like within like a quarter of a second, you know? So that's what you have to practice up to, is whenever you're doing things like this, you know, little bursts, is relaxing your hand in between each. It's so important. Because if you don't do that, what happens is you'll end up doing this and you'll get more and more tense rather than more and more relaxed. And more relaxed is the goal of playing fast. Yeah, so in between each one of those, I'm able to actively think about relaxing. Let me make sure there's no more comments here. Okay. If you guys have any questions about that, let me know. We're going to go ahead and move on to some left hand exercises because that was pretty intensive for the right hand. It's time to move on. Hopefully that image is really blown out. Let's see if I can get it to refocus, not on the white light behind me. Oh, that's terrible. Maybe it'll refocus here in a second. Okay, let's do some left hand exercises. Let's go. Let's work on some reflexiveness in the left hand. So we're going to go 1, 2, 1, 2, right? Relax. So we'll keep a rhythm of this, but make sure you get relaxed in between each one. We're going to go 1, 2, 1, 2, and then rest. Except faster, we're going to go. we get to the top here, on the first string, we're going to repeat it. So we're going to go. Okay, so I'm going to go 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, repeat. Okay, so join in whenever you can. When we get down to the bottom, we're going to do the same thing. So for instance, when we come. Okay? Alright, let's start that. Ready? And. Repeat first string. Oops. Next fret, we're going to move up here to the second and third. Ready? And. Oh, I didn't do it again. I'm sorry. Ready? And. Repeat. Again. Next. Now, something to mention here. Just like the little burst we were doing on our right hand, do whatever speed you can do. But we're still going to stay in rhythm. You might be a little bit off on the second note, but you should always be right on the first one. Maybe that's the speed you're able to go in your reflexes, right? But if you can go. Then by all means do that. Let's go second fret, ready, and. Make sure you relax between each set of 4 notes. Next. Oh, I didn't repeat it. Ready, and. Sorry. Fourth fret. Hammering to the fifth. Next. It's the fifth. Fourth again. Third. I know, speeding up a little bit, that's intentional. Try to push yourself at the end. Oh, sorry about that. Repeat the second, ready, and. First. Okay. Now let's try doing groups of 3 at a time. So. And then we're repeating the top. Repeating the bottom. Okay, let's try that. Ready, and. Sorry. Ready, and. Ready, and. Ready, and. Repeat. Relax between each. Up a fret. We're repeating the top and the bottom strings. Right? Again. Oops. Next fret. And. Again. Sorry. Fourth fret. Again. Sorry, fifth fret. Fourth fret. I'm going to speed up a little. Sorry, fourth fret again. Sped up a little bit. Right? So that's kind of the idea, is make it feel like one little motion. what you want to be doing with these is making sure that when you pick a tempo, it's faster than what you could do this at, right? If this is your max tempo for doing this, you want to make sure when you're doing this, it's significantly faster because it's just a short burst. So you're learning how to play reflexively and fast, but not necessarily with the stamina thing going a really long time. It takes a lot of concentration to leave that little bit of a gap each in between, and make sure you're staying relaxed between each one. Now let's do this with our second and third finger. Second fret to third fret, second and third finger. So middle and ring. Let's go. So 2 notes, or 2 fret, 2 strings. Ready? And rest, rest. Rest, rest. Rest, rest. We're repeating that top string and the bottom strings. Ready? 3rd fret to 4th. 4th fret to 5th. Oh, I didn't repeat. Ready? And again. Again. 5th fret to 6th. Back down a fret. We'll speed up. Now, one thing I would not recommend doing is doing this with a metronome. Do not do it. Now, I'm not saying don't stay in a rhythm, but the problem is with the metronome, and sorry, if you do this with the metronome, start it with it way too fast for you, and then bring it down until you can do it consistent, those bursts consistently in a speed. And if you want more information on this, by the way, send me a direct message on Instagram after this, and I will send you a link to the article that I'm talking about, because this guy, Stephen Aaron, who teaches at Oberlin Conservatory, he does a great job explaining why when you're practicing reflexivity, no matter what it is, left hand, right hand, you need to start either with the tempo very high and bring it down until it's a comfortable level. And that's so that you build this idea of being more relaxed when you speed up rather than less. And also, yeah, if you just set that barrier, this is something he mentions in the article, if you set that barrier and you're like, okay, like 130, this is really great, then you're bound to be more tense when you move that up. This is talking about the previous point, but you move that up 5 beats per minute, you're gonna be like, okay, here we go, it's getting more difficult, right? Let's get more tense. Whereas if you start too fast, the only way you can squeeze out one that's faster than you can normally play is if you're super relaxed. So it's this concept guiding the motion of reflexive playing. Okay, now as I promised, I'm going to show one exercise that Grisha Goryachev, the amazing flamenco player, showed me at a guitar festival recently. And if hopefully you guys all know the chromatic scale, which is like this, right? Now the tricky thing is it's only 3 notes fretted on the G string, and then the rest it's 4, right? With an open string in between. Anyways, if you don't refresh yourself on the chromatic scale on guitar after this. But the premise of this exercise is going like this. Oh, I'm missing the notes, but you go 0-1, 0-1-2, and it's all slurred, no re-articulating on the same string, right? So we go 0-1, 0-1-2. Okay, so then you pluck the open A after that, And you want it to be all really rhythmic, not ba-ga-da-bam, but so. This is kind of this idea of reflexiveness. He didn't express this part, but you could do that with this. And focus on not doing that a million times, but feeling relaxed before you do each one. Then you add on the fourth string. Then you go like this, open D. Then you add on a fretted note. And then you add on the F, right? I know you're not going to be able to play it along with this right now, but right now I'm moving all the way to the F sharp. Then I'm doing an open G. G sharp, then A. Okay, that's where we're at now. Then we're going to do an open B. So see, you don't put your fourth finger down there because we're doing a chromatic scale. And there's a third between these two notes instead of a fourth. Okay, and then you fret the C, which is the first fret on the D string, and the C sharp. I'm just going to get through this so I can show you, right? I have not practiced this very much, but it's certainly been interesting in evening out slurs. So, once you get to the top, the hard part actually starts. So in the beginning, you might only be able to go. Okay, that's totally fine, and it probably won't be as loud of a volume, but if you shoot for this being really even, then it'll eventually get there. You just have to practice doing that motion. The next part is practicing slurs on the way down, right? So going same thing, but pull-offs, which are much harder than hammer-ons in this situation. You go 4-3, 4-3-2, 4-3-2-1, 4-3-2-1, open. Okay, now here's the hard part. You don't re-articulate on the second string with your right hand. You just hammer on. So, it goes. Your hand's probably very exhausted by the time you get in here. Let's go to the E. Now we're going to go all the way to the open D. C sharp, now to the C. Anyways, this is the idea behind this. You add one and one more, but eventually it gets pretty fast. You may not be thinking so individually. But it's a great little exercise. I mean, it makes you really controlled with your slurs, actually. And the thing that I like about this is having to re-articulate on the second string. It makes you really keep your fourth finger in check. And when you're doing slurs with other fingers, sometimes our fourth finger comes out like this. It can't do that because if you want to be ready to play that strong hammer on the next string down, it's got to be really close to the string, right? And then it's like a break when you go back up. It's very difficult. should hear this guy play it though. It's like, it sounds like he's articulating every note. So, anyways, it's about 50 minutes in. I hope you guys enjoyed this. Send me a message if you did. I'd love to hear from you. Criticisms, comments, whatever you think should change, whatever you loved, let me know. Feel free to support me on Patreon. That link is in my bio on Instagram. That's how you can support me doing these classes. And those that contribute even just $1, I think, is what it's set at right now. I know that will work, because what I set it to is Patreons only. Can watch this back anytime. And if you can't make the next class, or you're normally busy at this time and you're able to catch this one, you'll be able to watch the entire video back on Patreon through an unlisted link. So I hope you enjoyed this. Consider supporting my classes, and I'll see you next week. See you soon.